All right, Shalom. This is Yaquab Ben Yasha'Allah from GMS Lions Den Camp. First and foremost, I want to give all honor, praise, and glory to Yahweh Shem Yahushai. A double honors to the apostles of Great Millstone who rule well, and salutation to the sincere Akim who pushing his truth and sincerity. All right. I got a little topic, man, I want to touch on today, man. It's dealing with Israelites, man, voting. We got this election coming up in the month of November. All right, a little over a month and some change left before the election. All right, and you look around and you see a lot of so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans taking part in this election. All right, or voting or having little jobs, going out. Hey, man, are y'all registered to vote, so forth and so on. All right, when we should not even be taking part in Esau's election. All right, so the first scripture I'm going to is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 17, verse 15. All right. Okay, this is Deuteronomy, chapter 17, verse 15. It says, "Thou shalt in any wise set him king over thee, whom the Lord thy power, Yahweh, shall choose. One from among thy brethren shalt thou set king over thee." All right. "Thou mayest not set a stranger over thee, which is not thy brother." Okay, so that's in the law. All right. So-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. See, first and foremost, we're in the land of our captivity. All right. So we came over here to America, to Babylon the Great, to serve slavery and captivity. All right. We already are looked at as 3/5 of a person, 3/5 of a man. We are not even counted as a full man. All right. So technically, we really don't even have all of the rights that Esau established for Esau and his and all the Edomites. All right. Those laws and rights that they had set up are technically not even for us. They never set them up for us. Okay. All right. So that voting, they have that as a right, a so-called right. But so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans are still held as 2/3 of a man. All right. So we shouldn't be taking part in their election, trying to set up someone to be king over us, all right, or to be a ruler over us. Okay, when they are not of our brethren, all right, because we all know every president, all right, every president has been related, all right, going back to the Edomites. All right. Every president pretty much goes back to the same bloodline, or have some blood in them that goes back to the same bloodline. Okay, and that's how they keep that bloodline of Edomites in power. All right, in rulership, having dominion. All right. So I'm gonna start back from the top. This is Deuteronomy 17 and 15. It says, "Thou shalt in any wise set him king over thee, whom the Lord thy God shall choose. One from among thy brethren." All right. And none of the presidents have been any Israelites. All right. So-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. All right. Like I said, they've all been Edomites. All right. And we should not be electing an Edomite according to the law. We should be electing someone from our own nation. All right. Our own flock, our own kindred, to rule over us, to be king over us. All right. It says, "One from among thy brethren shalt thou set king over thee. Thou mayest not set a stranger over thee." And that's what the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans who's taking part in this election and voting, all right, that's what they're doing. All right. They're setting a stranger over them to rule over them, which is not their brother. All right. So next precept I got is Jeremiah chapter 10, verse 2. All right, because that's going into following the customs of these other nations, and we were commanded by the Most High, our power, Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, the God of Israel, to not take on the customs of the other nations. All right, this is Jeremiah chapter 10, verse 2. "Thus saith the Lord, learn not the way of the heathen." All right, and one of the ways of the heathens is to vote. All right, because the voting goes back to Rome. All right. Because we all know the American government is well, first and foremost, America is a branch off of Rome. Okay, America is under the umbrella of Rome. All right, The Roman Empire never really came to a cease, all right, because this is the continuation of the Roman Empire, all right. That's why we deal with Roman numerals, all right. That's why we still have a pope, all right, who has so much power and authority over what goes on here on the earth and here in America, all right, because it's still under that Roman vibration, all right. That's why we have the senates, all right. That's why we have these big obelisks and all these big buildings that set up like the Roman buildings, all right, so forth and so on, all right. So America, we should know that is a branch off of Rome, all right. It says, learn not the way of the heathen, and be not dismayed at the signs of heaven, for the heathen are dismayed at them, all right. Come on, so that's self-explanatory, all right. So, you know, so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, man, we supposed to be holding tight, man, and keeping the faith, man, all right. Keeping the faith and enduring until the end, until our king, our great king, Yahweh comes through and shows us his glory, all right, and saves us, all right. If Lord's willing, I'll be one of the elect, all right, and we be part of the elect. You know, Yahweh is going to come back and save us, man, and that's the faith we're supposed to be keeping, all right. Not sitting back, going to Esau and participating in Esau's damn election, all right, as if that's going to save us, or if that's going to have any positive effect on the house of Israel, so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, all right. So, like, bear with me 1 second. All right, next precept is the book of 1 John, chapter 2. All right, verse 15. All right, this is what our great king Yahushua told us. All right, this is 1 John chapter 2, verse 15. He says, "Love not the world, neither the things that are in the world. If any man love the world, the love of the Father is not in him." All right, verse 16. All right, because we're not supposed to love this world, and the reason we're not supposed to love this world, okay, is because well, first and foremost, this world doesn't love us. All right. Second off, all right, we're supposed to be separate from this world. He said, even though we're in this world, we're not of this world. Okay, so we're supposed to be able to live and maintain it, in this world. Be able to have the things that we need to be able to survive in this world, but we're not supposed to be a part of this world. Okay, if that makes sense. All right, so he says, love not the world, neither the things that are in the world, including the damn presidents and their elections. All right, he says, if any man love the world, the love of the Father, Yahweh, is not in him. All right, so, the house of Israel should not be voted, man. All right, because if you voted, man, that means you got the love of the world in you. And if you got love of the world in you, then the love of Yahweh, the Father, is not in you. All right, period and point blank, man. Straightforward. Verse 16. For all that is in the world, the lust of the flesh and the lust of the eyes and the pride of life is not of the Father, but is of the world. All right. So, and that's going into, all of that pretty much, man. The lust of the flesh, the lust of the eyes, and the pride of life, man. The pride of life. Because he said we're supposed to hate our life in this world, man. All right. We're supposed to hate our life in this world for his sake. All right. He that love his life, Salakia. He that try to save his life shall lose it. All right. But he that hate his life shall gain it. All right. Salakia. Don't quote me verbatim. All right. Verse 17, and the world passeth away, and the lust thereof, but he that doeth the will of Yahweh abideth forever. All right, so we don't die, man. All right, the saints don't die. All right, our spirits, our energy transfers. All right, so we supposed to be keeping these laws, statutes, and commandments to the best of our ability. And the house of Israel, the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, all right, that are here today, scattered across the four corners of the earth, all right, have this law. Well, we shouldn't be goddamn voting, all right? Because according to Jeremiah 10:2, we are not supposed to be keeping the customs of these other nations and following the customs of the heathens, okay? And the number one heathen is the so-called white man, the Edomites, all right? Next scripture I'm gonna grab is the book of John, chapter 15 and verse 19. All right. This is First John chapter 15 verse 19. If ye were of the world, and this is more so talking about the elect, but also the nation of Israel, because he chose the whole nation of Israel as a whole, all right, to be a peculiar people unto himself above every nation that is upon the face of the earth. All right, so even though our people, the 2/3 are in a Gentile state of mind, they're destroyed. They're like a bunch of animals and dogs right now, a bunch of beasts. All right, you know, the glory and mercy of Yahushua, but through the glory and mercy of Yahushua, he's gonna forgive them. All right, he's gonna forgive them, okay, and heal them. All right. He says, if ye were of the world would love his own. All right, the world would love his own, but because ye are not of the world, but I have chosen you out of the world. See that? That's more so talking about the nation of Salakia, the elect of the nation of Israel, but the nation of Israel as a whole, he chose out of the world, out of all the other 17 nations on the face of this earth. He says, therefore, the world hateth you. All right, and that's why the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans are so oppressed and hated, all right, upon all across the globe. All right, what does he say? The old nation not desired. Okay, he was talking about the nation of Israel, man. All right, we're hated for Yahushua's sake, but it's cool, it's all good. All right, because he said no servant is greater than his master. So every affliction he went through, we're going to have to endure, and we're going to have to go through it here on this earth. All right, no servant is greater than his master. All right. Verse 20. Remember the word that I said unto you. The servant is not greater than his Lord. See that? If they have persecuted me, they will also persecute you. If they have kept my saying, they will keep yours also. All right. But all these things will they do unto you for my name's sake. See that? Because they know not him that sent me, because they don't know Yahweh. All right, the Father. They don't know the Most High. All right, they only know of the Most High. All right. All right. So-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, man, we shouldn't be voting, man. All right, and I can't say it enough. All right, we should not be taking part in the customs of Esau. All right, because think about it. If you do elect the president, what the hell is he gonna do for you anyway? What good is he gonna do for you? All right, even Obama, man, our people so damn brainwashed. They look on TV and they see a dark-skinned man or a man that has pigmentation in his skin, and they think that he's our people. All right, or that he's for us, or that he's a so-called Negro. All right, when all dark-skinned people are not the same people. All right, and that's common sense. All right, Deuteronomy. I'm finna grab the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 7, verse 6. All right, to further prove my point of why we aren't supposed to be voting. All right, we're not supposed to be taking on the customs of these other nations. All right, because we're a special people. All right, this is Deuteronomy chapter 7, verse 6. It says, for thou art an holy people unto the Lord thy power, Yahweh by Hashem Yahushua. All right, the Lord thy power have chosen thee, the nation of Israel, to be a special people unto himself, above all people that are upon the face of the earth. All right, and there goes your racism. All right, because the Most High, Yahweh by Hashem Yahushua, only chose one nation upon the face of the earth, okay, to be a special people unto himself. All right, and this is why we aren't supposed to be keeping the customs of the other nations. The other nations, they can vote, they can have fun with it. All right, they can vote all day long, man. But it's a game, it's a joke. All right, it's a Salakia, it's a charade. Salakia, I forgot my word. All right, but it's nothing but a big game, man, with the elites. Okay, they making it seem like you actually have a choice or a say-so on who the next president of the United States is going to be, when in all actuality, all right, the elites, all right, the so-called Illuminati, all right, the Bilderbergs, all right, and all the other families, but mainly the Bilderbergs, okay, they have a certain meeting, and they basically decide who's going to be the next president. All right, so in school they tell you about the the electoral college and so forth and so on. All right, but we all know Esau's history and Esau's so-called knowledge is a bunch of bullshit. Okay, it's nothing but a bunch of deceitfulness and a bunch of lies. All right. All right. Verse 7. The Lord did not set his love upon you, nor choose you, because ye were more in number than any people, for ye were the fewest of all people. All right. So he chose us, man, to be a special people unto himself, above all nations that are upon the face of this earth. So we, of all nations, are not supposed to be taking on their customs. All right. Which includes Christmas, which includes Halloween, which includes Ishtar, all right, which includes so-called New Year's, all right, when New Year's is in the damn spring, all right, when everything is new, all right, and all of these so-called pagan holidays, man. All right, we're not supposed to be taking it under their customs. All right, this is Salaki. All right, my next scripture is gonna be Salaki. All right. It's gonna be Job 9:24. All right, earth being given into the hand of the wicked. All right, but real quick, man, it's just crazy, man, because you know, like I was saying earlier, the United States government structure goes back to Rome. All right, it's nothing new under the sun. All right, because you know they all gather together at these certain assemblies, man. All right, and they choose pretty much, you know, who's gonna be the next president. All right. But just like in Rome, man, Rome had this so-called democracy, or they, you know, pretty much they had their time where they portrayed to the people that they had a democracy. All right, they basically had it playing a role to deceive the people, to have them thinking that they really are having a say so, and they really are pretty much running their country. When all actuality, the government is running the country, and they're just playing this game, making them feel like they have a say so, which is the same thing the U.S. is doing today with this damn voting. All right, with their ballots. All right, that's what they're doing. It's a game to make you think that you actually have a say so. Okay. Because they create a charade to make it look like every party is different, and things of that nature. When all actuality, every party is backing each other up. Every party is working together to further push the agenda of the elites. All right, the so-called Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, the Gettys, all right, the Bilderbergs, so forth and so on. All right, because America doesn't have a true democracy, man. All right, a true democracy is not a two-party system. You know what I mean? It's many parties with different ideas. All right, and they bring them all together, and those ideas represent the will of the people. All right, and how it's going to benefit the people. But how they got it set up in America, these many ideas and different ideas that come forth. All right, it's to represent the will of a few rich people, which represent the Illuminati or the elites. All right, and also too how they got it set up, because they deceive us through their media. We all know the elites own the media. All right, which goes into the television, which goes into the radio, the news, so forth and so on, everything that pretty much brings things to your attention. All right, but on the media, if you notice, you only see or you only hear about, when they have presidential elections, you only hear about the Illuminati-funded presidential candidates. All right, and the reason that is because they can lie in your face, and tell you different things according to their false agenda. All right, they'll tell you lies to have you believe that they have a certain agenda and different things that they're going to do and missions that they will accomplish as being president if they're elected. All right, and in all actuality. What's happening is the candidates are lying to your face, and they're only advertising the candidates, all right, that are funded by the Illuminati, that are going to continue the plans of the Illuminati. That way, the other candidates, all right, that are not funded by the Illuminati won't be able to question the true agendas of these presidential candidates that are lying to your face. All right, because they're gonna see they trying to it's a debate, and they actually trying to get points up on you to look so lucky I can't get my words out. What I'm trying to say is they're trying to look like the best presidential candidate. All right, every one of them. All right, so if they catch something that don't look right or something that sounds fishy from one of the presidential candidates, they'll call it out, and that'll pretty much have them one up on that presidential candidate. All right, it'll make him look bad, and it'll hurt his reputation. Okay, and maybe that presidential candidate can surpass the other presidential candidate. All right, All right, so that's how they got it going on. But the elites have it to where only the presidential candidates that are funded by the elites are shown on the television. You see what I'm saying? And their speeches are heard on the radios and so forth and so on. That way, uh, they're brainwashing you into believing that that's the only truth. All right, what they're saying. All right, it's a big game, man. All right, so even if you know we were allowed to vote, okay, and we were allowed to have pretty much put in our say so into the election or into voting. In all actuality, the elites have the say so in who the next president is going to be. They already decided, okay, when we're voting, who the next president is going to be in office. All right, so it's no point in voting all the way across the board. All right. Um. All right. Oh yeah, one more thing too, because the elites' agenda, we got to remember their agenda. All right, is to bring in their new world order, and in order to bring in how they want to bring in their new world order, they want to destroy the economy. All right, which the Most High is destroying the economy through the hands of them. All right, so it's not their own will. Okay, it's the Most High, playing chess through the hand of Esau. All right, but their agenda was to destroy the economy and the middle class. All right, so they don't want to have any middle class, especially middle class so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. All right, they don't want a middle class in general. They just want to have the super super rich, which is the elites, and the elites want to have slaves, which are all the poor. All right, so they want to have a super rich and a very poor. They don't want to have any middle class. All right, and those slaves that they have, so it's going to be the elites in their new world order. The way they want to set up, they want to have the elites, all right, the super rich, the super wealthy, and then the very poor, which are the slaves. And with those slaves, they want to have them chipped with the RFID microchip, the mark of the beast, Revelation 13 and 16. All right, that's their agenda. All right, and we can all see, man, that's a very sick ass agenda. That's a mindset of a devil. All right, that's a mindset of a damn demon. All right, let me grab the book of Job, chapter 9, verse 24. All right, because this helps us better understand, man, why this devil got to come down, man, and who this devil is if you already don't know. All right, this is the book of Job, chapter 9, verse 24. All right, it says the earth is the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. All right, so who's ruling the earth, man? It says the earth, the whole entire earth, man, the power of the earth. All right, the dominion over the earth at this time is given into the hand of the wicked. All right, and we know some certain nation of people rules this earth. All right, it says he covered the faces of the judges thereof. All right, and what happened during the time of the Renaissance era, man? All right, the rebirth. All right, what happened during that time? Cause they tell us in school and they tell us in these lying ass history books, all right, that during the time of the Renaissance era, it was basically a time where there was a bunch of art and a bunch of foolishness. All right, it was a bunch of art and so forth and so on. It was a time where art basically started to sprout all over the world. It was basically a major time of art where art was transforming, all right, into something better than what it was. All right, a time of art, pretty much. Statues and all those damn homosexual statues and all of that shit. All right, that's what it goes into. All right, it goes into during the time of the so-called Edomites. All right, when they came out of the Caucasus Mountains and they started to take over the earth again through the hand of the Greeks. All right, and Alexander the Creep. All right, what they did was they whitewashed all our photos, man. They call it iconoclasm. All right, where it's pretty much we were ruling this earth, and they take all of our images and they whitewash them and they bring them down. All right, so I don't want to get too far off the topic, but just breaking the scripture down, man. Esau did that. Esau was responsible for that, man. All right, and he has to pay for that. All right, for deceiving the whole earth. All right, the word deceiver, Salaki, the word devil means diablo, which means deceiver. All right, and it says he covered the faces of the judges thereof. All right, if not, where and who is he? So if he ain't the devil, then where and who is he? All right, because the word devil means deceiver, and he deceived the whole earth into thinking that the saints were so-called Edomites or so-called white men. All right, the Passion of the Christ, man. They got Mel Gibson played that role. All right, they should have had somebody more like Morgan Freeman playing that role, man. All right, so-called Jake, man, so-called Negro, Latino, or Native American playing that role, man. Salaki, a so-called Negro. All right, because Yahushua, our king, our great king, all right, he was from the tribe of Judah, man, the head tribe. And those are the so-called Negroes today. So he should have been a damn so-called Negro. All right. But that shows how wicked this devil is. All right. And he has to continue to keep covering up his lies. All right. But I'm going to get back to the point. All right. So to prove my point, what I was saying earlier, man, about the chip, man, let me just go into a little bit of that, man. I don't want to get too deep, man. I know a majority of you brothers probably already know this. All right. But I'm going to just touch up on this. All right. This is Revelation. So lucky. Let me go back. This is the book of Revelation, the 13th chapter. All right, in the 16th verse. All right, because this devil got to go down, man. This devil got to go down, and we just got to endure, man, and be patient. All right, we have to endure and be patient, man, and not take part in the abominations of these other nations. All right, because we got to remember we are a holy nation unto the Lord our power, man. Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. The word holy means set apart, man, or separate. All right, and how are we separate from the other nations? Our customs, man. We have laws, statutes, and commandments, and the other nations don't. All right, they can eat pork. We don't eat pork. All right, they worship Christmas. We don't worship Tammuz. Okay, so we don't worship Christmas. Okay, so forth and so on, man. They can walk around with bald heads. We aren't supposed to shave our heads bald. All right, they can cut their faces bald. We're not supposed to walk around with bald faces. We're supposed to have beards on our faces. All right, our woman's supposed to be covered up. So forth and so on, man. We're not supposed to eat bloody meat. But these other nations can eat bloody meat. We're not supposed to have sex with our women on a menstrual cycle. All right, but these other nations, they do things like that. All right, we have dietary laws, man. These other nations can eat whatever the hell they want to eat. All right, these other nations can vote for presidential candidates. The nation of Israel should not be voting for presidential candidates. So that I'm gonna leave it right there, man. I'm sure you guys feel my drift. But the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, man, got to wake the hell up, man, especially the elect, and turn back to Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, all right, and get out here and push this truth in sincerity, all right, so that we can seal the elect and these prophecies can hurry up and we can get the hell out of here, man, because I hate this place, man, and I'm ready to go, man. I'm tired of this place, man. I'm tired of everything about this fucking place, man. I'm tired of waking up in this goddamn hellhole, man. All right, I'm tired of this shit, man. All right, our people fucking brainwashed, man. They retarded. All right, they're in a dumbed out state of mind, man. And it's sad. All right, it's fucking sad, man. All right, we go out to these highways and these byways, man, every week. All right, and we sacrifice, things that we could be doing in our own free time. All right, to go out there and stand out there for hours on our feet. All right, and try to wake up these dumbass so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. All right, but they want to stay in a dumbed out state of mind. They want to be slaves. All right, they want to be slaves, man. What the scriptures say, man? Is Israel a servant? Is he a homeborn slave? Why is he spoiled? All right, because our people want to continue to go into captivity, man. They want to continue to worship these other gods, man, that are not no gods. All right, when we have the only true power, Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, man, the God of Israel, the one who created the heavens and the earth, man, the one who's actually living and breathing with true power in his hands, man. And we want to worship some fucking statues, man, that don't even fucking talk, man. You know what I'm saying? But that's our people for you, man. Rebellious ass people, man. Y'all need to come back and wake the hell up, man, so we can get the fuck out of here, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm tired of these damn devils, man. It's lucky, man. Let me go to the book of Deuteronomy, man. Let me go over some of these curses real quick, man. Because our people are in a dumbed out state of mind, man. And these things, were prophesied to happen to us in the beginning because we sinned, man, and we went off. We sinned and we went off, man. All right, this is the book of Deuteronomy. So like 28th chapter. And I'm gonna start at verse 1. All right. And it shall come to pass. This is Deuteronomy 28:1. And it shall come to pass, if thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of the Lord thy power, all right, to observe to do all his commandments, which I command thee this day. You notice he said to do all of his commandments, which I command thee this day. Because remember, he said if we break one law, we're guilty of breaking all of them. All right. That the Lord thy God, Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, will set thee on high above all nations of the earth. All right. So if we kept those laws, statutes, commandments, man, Moses was telling the children of Israel that the Most High, the God of Israel, will set us up on high above every nation that upon the face of the earth. All right. Verse 15. But if we didn't keep the laws, statutes, commandments, all right. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy power, Yahweh, to observe to do all his commandments and all his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee. All right. So all these curses, man, from the 15th verse to the 68th verse, all these curses came upon the children of Israel, man, for being a rebellious, hard-headed ass nation. All right, for being the same spirits that they are today, man, rebellious. All right, and don't want to take heed to the law, statutes, commandments. All right. So I'm gonna skip down to verse Slakia, bear with me. All right, I'm gonna start at verse 37. This is one of the curses. All right. And thou shalt become an astonishment, all right, a proverb and a byword among all nations, whither the Lord shall lead thee. All right, and that's talking about the nation of Israel. So amongst every nation, whether the Lord shall lead the nation of Israel. And remember, we have been scattered amongst the four corners of the earth, meaning we have been scattered amongst every nation that is upon the face of this earth. All right. So he said, we shall become astonishment, a proverb, and a byword. All right, meaning a nickname, a derogatory nickname. All right, amongst every nation. All right, that's where you get the word nigger from. All right, that's where you get the word Negro from. All right, that's where you get wetback from. That's where you get spics. All right, so forth and so on, man. All right, all those derogatory nicknames that we have been called and we have been given through the times of slavery by the so-called white man and all these damn heathen nations that's going into slavery. All right, you know what I'm saying? A proverb and a byword, man. They was calling us all these nicknames, man. All right. So that's another piece of proof, man, who the nation of Israel are today, man. So-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. All right. I'm gonna skip down to verse verse 48. All right. Therefore, this is another curse. Therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies, which the Lord shall send against thee. All right. And who did the Lord send against us? The so-called Edomites. All right. In hunger and in thirst and in nakedness. All right. And we serving them in hunger and in thirst. All right. Because we depending on them to feed us. All right. We got to go to them. Even if we aren't holding a hand out, begging them for food. All right. On the damn corner. All right. We got to go to their stores that's owned by them. All right. And we got to get their food. All right. We can't go out and hunt and get fresh meats. All right. We supposed to eat fresh meats. All right. But the foods that we buy from these grocery stores have been killed. And a lot of you got to think about it. These foods that Esau not killing this food the correct way because he's thinking about profit. So he's thinking about how he can kill a bunch of damn animals in a lump sum. You feel what I'm saying? He's not worried about how he can kill each animal carefully to make sure he's killing it the right way in a humane way that the meat is proper and the meat is healthy enough for you to eat and clean enough for you to eat. All right, he ain't worried about that, man, because he don't give a damn about us. He don't give a damn about our health. He don't give a damn about his own people. All right, and that's why this devil got to be brought down. All right, because he's deceiving our people and he got our people. He pushing this wicked ass vibration of doing all these things, man. And all our people are just following after him and keeping all of his customs. And that's having them being destroyed in the long run. Because remember, we are a separate nation. So we are to be holy unto the Lord our power. All right. In hunger and in thirst, all right, and in nakedness, all right, and even in that word thirst, man, because you got to think about it, man. What is representation of the water? The water is these scriptures, all right. So we even go to Esau's churches, all right, Esau's churches, and we depend on Esau, all right, to feed us the word. Even back in slavery, man, all right, we had to depend on Esau to read us the Bible because if we were caught reading or writing, they'll cut our damn hands off. You see what I'm saying? Or they'll cut out different parts of our bodies off. You see what I'm saying? Or torture us. Or even might kill us. All right, just for reading, or especially for reading the Bible. All right? All right, and in thirst, and in nakedness. All right, and in nakedness. And in want of all things. And he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until he have destroyed thee. And that yoke of iron that he put upon our neck represents slavery. All right, until he have destroyed us. All right, which we are not, spiritually and mentally we are destroyed, but physically our bodies are not completely destroyed yet. That's what they're in the process of doing now. That's why they constantly spraying the chemtrails in the air. That's why they constantly pouring fluoride in our waters. That's why they constantly putting pork in our deodorant and so forth and so on, man. All right, because they know the children of Israel, the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, are not supposed to be exposed to these things and are not supposed to take part in doing these things. Okay. All right. It says, and the Lord shall bring thee. All right, Salakia. My point was that we are still in slavery. All right, because they have not completely, utterly destroyed us. All right, so we are still in slavery, and that is why we need salvation. That is why we need to be saved from this captivity. Okay, but all the other nations are not in slavery. All right, we're the ones being oppressed. We're the ones in captivity. All right. It says, as swift, Salakia, and the Lord shall bring a nation against thee from far, from the end of the earth. All right, from the Caucasus Mountains, as swift as the eagle flieth. All right, and that eagle, there's that eagle, man. The eagle, what's the national bird of the U.S.? All right, the bald eagle. All right, and all the other countries that that the so-called Edomites have ruled. All right, have been their symbol has been an eagle. All right, as swift as the eagle flieth, a nation whose tongue thou shalt not understand. See that? Because we were Hebrews, man. We were speaking Hebrew tongue at the time, man. Ancient Paleo Hebrew, Lashon Kodash. All right, and they were speaking English. All right, they were speaking English and Spanish and so forth and so on, man. Because remember, it's different bloodlines of the Edomites. All right. Verse 50. A nation of fierce countenance, which shall not regard the person of the old, nor show favor to the young. See that? And he definitely did in slavery. He didn't show favor to the young or the old, man. All right. All right. So he said we were going to, in verse 48, we shall serve our enemies in the Lord, which the Lord shall send against us in hunger and in thirst. All right. So we're serving them until this day. But they also still got us serving their God. All right. 2/3 of our nation still worshiping and calling upon Zeus, Jesus, all right, which in the Latin means hail Zeus. So they're giving praises to Greek mythology god that doesn't even exist. All right. Even one of the first slave ships, man, was named the great ship Jesus. All right. Salakia, captained by what do they call him? Sir John Hawkins. All right, John Hawkins was the captain of that ship. It was actually named Jesus or Jesus. Okay, that was one of the ships that brought a bunch of the so-called Negroes over here in captivity. All right, to the Americas. All right, so we're worshiping their gods. Okay, we're following their customs. We're even voting for them to be kings over us. All right, we're that retarded and brainwashed. All right, this is why we need to be saved. This is why we need salvation, man. All right. I'm gonna skip on down to verse 68. So like y'all can bear with me. I don't know what's going on with me today. I can't halfway get some of my words out. All right. So like you though. This is verse 68. All right. And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships. We all know the word Egypt, Egyptos, which means bondage. And Revelation 11:7. 11:8 tells us that America is spiritually called Sodom and Egypt. Well, also our Lord was crucified. All right. It says, and the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships. All right. So he shall bring us into bondage or slavery again with ships, by the way whereof I spake unto thee. And this only happened to the so-called Negroes. Thou shalt see it no more again, and there ye shall be sold unto your enemies. All right, for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you. And the word bondmen and bondwomen is slave men and slave women. All right, and who is our enemies, man? It said we shall be sold unto our enemies for bondmen and bondwomen. Our enemies are the so-called Edomites, man. They've been our natural-born enemies since the beginning. All right, going all the way back to Cain and Abel, and then all the same spirits coming out in Jacob and Esau. Remember, Rebecca had 2 twins in her womb, and she had entreated the Lord to figure out why she was why the twins were tussling in her womb. All right. So even before the birth of the twins, man, they were tussling together, warring with each other. All right. It says, by the way whereof I spake unto thee, thou shalt see it no more again. All right, we shall see our homeland no more again, the nation of Israel, which is why in the late 90s, all right, when we had this so-called consciousness era where all of our people were so-called waking up uh, to their own version of the truth. Everybody wanted to go back to Africa. But you ain't hear too many people going back to Israel, all right? You know, yeah, Ben Amin and people like that. But you ain't hear too many people going back to Israel, all right? Because they didn't know that they were Israelites, man. They had still been in that form, that Gentile state of that Gentile state of mind, and being brainwashed into thinking that they were Americans, but they had come from Africa, all right, and they had African roots, all right. But we are Hebrew Israelites, man. It says Jerusalem, who is above, Jerusalem, which is above and free, all right. She is the mother of us all. You know, Jerusalem is the mother of us all. That's the motherland, not Africa, all right. And there ye shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you. All right, so no man shall be able to redeem us from this captivity, man. And we shall be sold unto our enemies for bondmen and bondwomen. All right, and that's what happened to the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. All right, and that is why we are in such a destroyed state of being right now. All right, because that history, man, that slavery really happened. All right, that slavery really happened. This prophecy really came to pass. All right, just like every other prophecy of the Bible. All right, the King James Version Bible. All right, that prophecy really came to pass, and it still has an effect on our people until this day. All right, so with that, you know what I'm saying, I don't want to keep going too far. With that, I hope you were edified. I like to give all honor, glory, and praise to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai. Double honors to the apostles of great millstones, and shalom to the sincere Akim.